Welcome to Beyond the Felt, sponsored by 3Bet Poker Clothing. I'm your host, Jason Harrell. Today I'm joined with bracelet winner Greg Mueller and Team 3Bet Pro. Greg, we're going to get right into it. Thanks for joining us, first off.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. We're going to do the questionnaire created by the great Bernard Pivot and then popularized by James Lipton. Dive right into it. What's your favorite word?
Right now I have to say gaping.
Gaping.
Yeah.
And
whenever I bust out of a tournament, I feel like I'm gaping. Just
really?
like fully blown, yeah.
That's
It's kind of the word of the week.
awesome. And what's your favorite sound? What sound do you love?
Favorite sound do I love?
Yeah.
Ocean ocean waves.
Uh-huh.
Like I live on the beach back home, and I just love hearing the waves. It's like soothing.
Perfect. And what sound or noise do you hate?
The lawnmower and the weed whacker. Yeah, when they're on my neighbor's lawn and all that, it drives me insane. I'm sleeping weird hours, and they're up at 8 a.m. every morning. It drives me nuts.
What profession other than poker would you like to have pursued?
Would I, is my
Like if
fantasy
you can't play,
land,
yeah,
or what would be realistic?
fantasy.
Fantasy land, I'd love to be a baseball manager.
Baseball manager?
Never played,
No?
never been involved in the game, but I go to games all the time, and I'm a strategist, and
Yeah.
I'm always getting mad at the managers, when I bet on them and they're pulling guys out that they shouldn't pull out and stuff like that, and I think I'd be a good baseball manager.
Awesome. And what profession other than poker would you not want to do?
What I not want to do? I definitely would not want to dig ditches.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know what would I want to do because I'm a positive guy, so I'm not going to rattle off the 3,000 things I wouldn't want to do. I'd more look at what would I want to do, but I know I wouldn't want to dig ditches.
And if heaven exists, what would you want to hear God say when you enter the pearly gates?
Come on in.
Come on in. It's time to perfect segue into the interview process. Well, that's awesome. Greg, you started out as a professional hockey player.
Yeah.
How does one go from professional hockey player to poker?
Well, when we're on long road trips and stuff,
Yeah.
you got to fill the time, and usually when you're sitting on the back of the bus, you're having some beers and playing cards. And it started out socially, a few bucks here and there, and then it started escalating and got into a little bit more money and a little more money, and then I met a good buddy of mine who was playing professional, and on our days off, he was playing in Europe, and he was a buddy of my friend on my hockey team, and on our day off, which was always on Monday, we'd drive into the casino,
Of course.
play poker and talk nonstop poker, nonstop. I mean, I was a big fish then, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to play.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed it, and then when I retired from hockey, I just kind of dove in.
Now, I mean, you obviously had aspirations to have a long hockey career.
Yeah.
When you get called in or the writing's on the wall, when did you transition into sitting there saying, I'm gonna go poker?
Honestly, it wasn't even like that. I retired very prematurely. Like, I had a solid career, but I retired probably 8 or 9 years into my career when my mom passed away. I was playing in Europe, and I just instantly kind of lost the passion and the drive to, it's very hard work physically training in the off season and being away from home. And I just kind of quit on the spot.
Yeah.
And so now I was like, you're not really thinking saving when you're playing, because you think you have many years ahead and you're spending large and enjoying life. And so now all of a sudden I was like, well, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And I met my buddy the last few years playing hockey, and he kind of mentored me, showed me the ropes a little bit, and
Sure.
before you know it, I started playing real small stakes and real conservative, and kind of just as small as you can get. I basically went all the way up. Like, I wasn't one of those guys that hit a big tournament and was a fish in the big games. Like, I really grinded my way from the 5, 10, 10, 20, 20, 40, 40, like kind of like that, mixed games, no limit, jumping around, learning satellites, big tournaments. Really took me a long time to kind of get to the top of the food chain, if you want to say.
There's actually a lot of athletes, personally, I played a little college ball.
Yeah.
Some of the teammates on 3Bet, have played college sports. Does poker, maybe not at the beginning, but now kind of like scratch that itch that you get from competitive hockey?
Yeah, not so much the cash games, but the tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a competition. You're playing a 4 or 5 day event. A lot of similarities to hockey that come in discipline. You're irritated with a guy at the table, but you can't just come after him.
Yeah.
You have to let the cards do the talking. If you're in hockey and the guy gives you a dirty hit, you can't just let your teammates down and do what you want. You have to get them later, and there's a lot of discipline and stuff involved when it comes to like training for hockey and being fit, and same type of thing on the poker felt. You got to be disciplined off the felt, on the felt. Like there's a lot of similarities, just being competitive and like you said, when you see athletes come into poker, for the most part, if they give it any kind of time,
Yeah.
they have a very fast learning curve, and they usually succeed because of their, I'm going to say the one word, the competitiveness of,
So important.
the eager and competitiveness of somebody, that's made it in professional sports, generally has a very big drive. So
When you're growing up, hockey, playing, the support of your parents, obviously you had a gift. Talk about that and how supportive they were and kind of just being with you as you, because when you sit there and every kid sits there and says, oh, I'm going to be a professional whatever,
Yeah.
athlete, poker player, and your parents, a lot of them are, oh, that's nice, but you were actually there.
no, they were huge. They supported me financially in anything that had to do with hockey.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to order pizza or go to the movies, they said they own a family restaurant,
Yeah.
and they said you can work,
Yeah.
and with the money that you make, like a regular employee, you can go to the movies. They didn't believe in just giving me money to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to, eat other than what they were making for dinner, like pizza or something,
Yeah.
they said just come work a couple hours. But when it came to the hockey stuff, they paid for the expensive hockey schools, the skating lessons, the equipment, which is very expensive and stuff. And I was very fortunate because a lot of, talented athletes that maybe I played soccer with in school,
Sure.
they couldn't afford to play hockey, never mind the equipment, the lessons, and so they were extremely supportive. I remember my mom, when I first started playing, I was a terrible backward skater, and she stood with me at the rink, and every time I skated backwards from one side of the boards to the other and back, I was like a little dolphin or something. She'd like feed me a chocolate, you know what I mean? So I just kept doing it, but it made me get better a lot quicker,
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to like the sports and all that, they were extremely generous and supporting of if I wanted to take hockey schools all summer and get better, they knew that was my life, and so they sacrificed a lot to help me get there.
Now, for poker playing, you see these kids, these internet wizards that
Yeah.
are starting at like 14, 15 illegally, but nonetheless, they're playing poker.
Yeah.
Your path to where you're at now wasn't like that. It's I hate to say old school, but it's almost like the traditional way. The internet's now a new form. How much advantage do you think, just out of life, that you've gotten to see, instead of spending your entire teens and 20s in front of a computer screen, as opposed to being in the live casinos and just seeing the world that you've had the opportunity to see?
Yeah, it's two different worlds, completely two different worlds. The online wizards, as I call them, they play 12 tables at once, 10 hours a day. They in 6 months they played more hands than I played lifetime, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that at the rate that they learn the game is ridiculous, and that's why poker's getting so tough. Because back when I learned the game, if somebody new came to try and learn poker, it would take them years to gain my knowledge and strategy. And now with all the information online and the ability to play so many hours, so many different games, tutorials, and people become wizards so fast. I still don't feel that they have necessarily an edge over old school guys on the felt in the live game, because there's live tells, there's discipline habits, there's tilt issues. I mean, there's all kinds of things that, you know, are involved in being successful other than just knowing the math and the numbers in the game and stuff. But for sure, you know, I mean, I'm very glad that I learned playing on the back of the bus, getting tutorials from my buddy and Coach Hughes, as I call him, and you know, learning like the way that I kind of grew up by getting smacked around in the bigger limits every time I tried, then go down low again and come up, as opposed to doing it sitting in front of a computer screen and
just
having no social skills while I'm doing it, and just kind of click, you know, it's never been my thing.
Kind of go there, the balance of like social life, like how important is that? And I mean, I see your Twitter feeds and stuff, like you go to sporting events, you're out there, you're not 100% poker.
Oh, I'm not even.
Talk about that balance, and just not so much like poker is giving you this opportunity to increase it, and a lot of people miss out on that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say now that I've had 9 months off of poker, I just taken some time off to work on myself in certain ways and stuff, and so I kind of am a little bit hungrier this World Series to play, and I don't mind the 8 to 10 hour days, but for the most part, I'm kind of over, you know, the love of the game, and it's strictly as a tool to give me the, you know, the financial means to enjoy what I enjoy doing, which is, you know, going to sporting events and having a good time playing hockey, and you know, and I people ask me, you missed this tournament. Yeah, I missed a lot of tournaments. I played 2 or 3 WPTs in the World Series.
Yeah,
that's it. You know, there's people that fly from Bahamas to Australia over to Macau. They cross the Pacific here, then they stop here, and it's just tournament. I don't do that. I play 2 to 3 tops WPTs and the World Series, and I like to enjoy my life, and I mean, you know, definitely, and everything, balance is the key, but the more for me away from the casino I am, the happier I am. You know, unfortunately, you have to work, but you know, it's definitely not. I don't get pumped up the way people talk about Christmas and, you know, kid in a candy store for a poker game. No, not my thing anymore. Well, I was like that when I first started,
of course,
but it's been a long time.
I mean, it is when like people think, oh, professional, but profession. Like they don't call, you know, I got to go to work. They don't say I got to go to fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You can enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's still.
People ask me, you know, for fun. Hey, we're having a little home game. Like, do you want to play a $20 buy-in? Like, it'd be wicked. And honestly, sometimes when I haven't seen a lot of the people, I'll come in there and whatever, splash around, have a good time. But you know, I tell them, if it's, you know, a manager of a restaurant or a waiter or a cook, you know, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have some people over. Would you like to cook when you're off cooking? You know, it's not really my fun thing anymore. It's, you know, I'm strictly here to, you know, for the business. Like I said, the World Series is a little different. It's fun. It's the competition comes out. The little kid comes out in you, and you want to win, and you want to win a bracelet and make the final table and points of the year, fantasy drafts. You know, it turns into more of a sport, which makes it more fun. But the daily, you know, cash game grinds, sometimes 20, 30, 40 hours when you're stuck and buried and you're on full blown and no sleep and you're eating like a pig and gaining weight and titties and whatever. Like you're just a mess and you're a zombie and you're completely no discipline, and that is not a fun thing. And it's just the reality that has to do with it. You know, the straight line being, you know, successful when there's vices everywhere, whether it's drugs, booze, the pit, sporting events, betting on the games, you know, I mean, you name it, whatever, there's things out there for everybody, and you got to be real careful to not get sucked in to one of these holes, because it can ruin you, you know, and everybody has their leaks, and you know, it can be, you know, it can be tough if you're not doing it right.
So just going to wrap things up. What's the next chapter for Greg? Where are we heading in the future?
You know, people always ask me, you know, can I book you for this, or do you want to play in the golf tournament, or do this or this in next month? And I always say, next month? It's 5 o'clock right now. I don't know what I'm doing at 6. Yeah. You know, so as far as the next chapter, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I book my flights when I leave, usually 2 hours before. Race to the airport and get on. You know, that's the one good thing about my profession, is I can do what I want when I want.
Yeah.
And the negative thing is it can be frustrating for people trying to plan things. Like they have a family, want you to come over for a barbecue, and yeah, okay, I'll let you know tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow morning I got a lot of food. Can't let me know now. So I'm better now, but. Yeah, you just never know. I mean, if things are going well, and maybe I want to travel a little more for poker, and see Macau. I've never been to Macau. Like, check out some areas. Maybe I will.
You got to go to Macau. I've been to Macau.
I've heard there's big games there, and I'd like to do a safari.
Yeah.
So maybe but I don't know. What do I want to do? Like, what way am I gonna go in life?
Well, I think that's one of the biggest things in poker is. Like if you can kind of look at life as a bit of a poker game, you don't play the river before you play the flop. You don't sit there and win the tournament on the first hand.
Exactly.
Just hand after hand, and you've started out as a grinder and grind your way.
Yeah.
Might as well keep the formula of success.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not grinding anymore.
Well, but that work ethic.
Yeah, the work ethic, for sure. And like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna, because I've had some time off. Maybe I'm going to, after the World Series, continue to just go to LA, grind the cash games, and go to the ball games. LA, Anaheim, I love doing that. Yeah. Dinners at night. I love Los Angeles. To me, it's awesome. Maybe I'll travel a little more, like Europe or like I said, Macau area, play the games there, and just relax. I'm very open-minded, and, where life takes me, it takes me kind of thing. I don't really... I don't have anything that I have to do responsibilities-wise, commitment-wise.
Sure.
I don't have any kids or anything. And so you never know.
Well, Greg, this has been great. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time. That's going to do it for Beyond the Felt. I'm your host, Jason Harrell, sponsored by 3Bet Poker Clothing. Wear what the poker pros wear. Greg's got his on. I've got mine on. Check it out, 3bet.com. That's it for me. For Greg Mueller, we want to say thank you and see you next time.